PFF released their most underrated player for every team in the NFL. And just thinking off the top of my head here, right? Who would be our most underrated player? I want to say Chase Brown. Because, again, I still think he's going to be the best running back in the league for the foreseeable future. But Chris Jenkins is another guy that I really think people aren't giving enough hype to. Obviously, he was a second-round pick last year. I don't think he's getting enough hype across the board. Moma Jagmita, I think he's very underrated. Not many people talk about him. I'm going most underrated. Mike Gesicki is low-key on the top list of that guy. Because he's a guy, again, not many people talk about, but he's very, very clutch in key situations. Okay, there's a list then. There's a list of players I could list off then. I'm going to go with those guys as my most underrated player. Let's see what Pro Football Focus comes with. Arizona Cardinals, Garrett Williams. Okay. Atlanta Falcons, this guy. Baltimore Ravens is Justice Hill. You know, that's an interesting one. Justice Hill was like their third down / like pretty much can do it all back. He used to have injury issues, and then he kind of fixed those injury issues. So, okay. I mean, if you remember last year, in the last couple years, Justice Hill has always been the complementary piece to whoever their main running back is. So I guess that makes sense. Kahir Shakir for the Buffalo Bills. Carolina Panthers is Jalen Coker. Okay. Chicago Bears is going to be Javon Dexter Sr. And they have B.J. Hill as our most underrated player. That's an interesting one. I really felt like B.J. Hill, for the most part, is correctly rated. I think most people would say, if they thought B.J. Hill on our team, he's a really good player. He's a really good player. He's a key piece to our defense. And honestly, for a period of time, was our only really good defensive tackle. Outside of, obviously, DJ Reader. So, kind of surprised, for the most part, that he would be considered underrated. Again, like I said, I guess you could say he's underrated, but I feel like a lot of people realize how good he is. Hill is coming off his second best PFF overall grade as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals since 2021, earning a 70.2 mark, which ranks in the top 25 mark for the position in 2024. Yeah, so again, because of how good he has been, I would feel like a lot of people would say, yeah, B.J. Hill, he's a pretty good option. So I'm surprised, like, Justice Hill is a backup running back for the Ravens. He's a second-string guy who gets utilized, but he doesn't really ever get the accolades that he probably should, and he never puts up the crazy stat lines because he doesn't get utilized enough. Hill's strength at this point in his career is a run defender, where he posted 18th ranked 69.2 PFF run defense grade this past season. On 273 run defensive snaps, Hill delivered a 9.3% run stop rate, another top 20 mark, and an impressive feat for a defensive lineman heading into year 8. Yeah, okay. Again, like I said, I'm not surprised at all, I guess, in that context. But, like, Yoshi would be on my list before B.J. Hill. I feel like Yoshi's another guy who especially hasn't had the, crazy 750-yard plus season. So he's still kind of under the radar type of guy. Kind of surprised on that. Okay, Cleveland Browns got Jordan Hicks. Okay. Dallas Cowboys got Malik Hooker. Denver Broncos, Brandon Jones. Eric Robertson for the Lions. Romeo Dobbs for the Packers. We got Jalen for the Texans. Bahard Rainman for the Colts. Walker Little for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Leo Chanel for the Chiefs. Jacoby Myers for the Raiders. That's an interesting one. Dayon Henley for the Chargers. Okay, I really didn't care about the Steelers at this point. Who was the Steelers one? Nick Herbig. Okay. I don't know. Like, in my head, I'm thinking about, like, I guess not starters, but I'm thinking about guys who, who aren't household names yet. BJ Hill is a household name. But there are other players on our roster who are not household names yet. And I think eventually Fig Newton's going to be a household name, but he's not one yet, right? And obviously, we'll see how he does this year. I expect him to do really good. Dax Hill is another guy who I think if he can stay healthy, he could be a household name. Like, we have guys on our roster who, with the correct coaching and the correct situations, can become very good household names. That's why I say we are going to win the Super Bowl. I know people disagree with that. But the thing is, we have guys on our roster who are capable of getting the job done. We just need the correct coaches in place to get the job done. I believe this year we have the correct coaches. You get rid of Frank Pollock, you get an actual offensive line coach, which Scott Peters very excited for. You get arguably a how do I put this? I'm not going to trash Lou Anarumo. So I love Al Golden. You get a really great Al Golden defensive coordinator. You also get a lot of positional coaches on defense that you needed fixed. New defensive line coach, new linebacker coach. And I'm very excited to see how they do. And I think this is the crew that is the Super Bowl squad. We'll see, though. We'll see. We'll see how the season goes. We have 17 more Sundays before the NFL season, boys. We're almost there. We've got to just hold on a little bit longer. 17 more weeks.